Just want to give you some updates. Huge panic in Israel. Big strike on Haifa. Israelis or the Zionists, they abandoned their homes after IDF bombers Beirut Tower. Let's talk about this one a little bit more. A building in Beirut's southern suburbs collapsed in a gigantic cloud of smoke and dust following a strike attributed to Israel. AFP reported a series of images from the strike captures a falling projectile slamming into the lower floors of the building, which erupt in a huge fireball, causing the structure to collapse. Meanwhile, listen to this. Smoke was seen rising in the distance near Haifa, Israel, following projectile launches by Hezbollah from the direction of Lebanon on Friday. In other words, what we are seeing is a collapse of a city, Haifa, in Israel, right in front of our eyes. Welcome back to my channel, guys. If you are not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing because most of my viewers are not subscribed. Before we talk more about this, I want to actually play this video of Russian foreign minister. Let's talk about this particular issue first, and then I'll tell you a story about how the Zionists, they are now fleeing from Lebanon. I'll make mention of a few particular incidents that took place recently. But let's take a look at this statement from Lavrov, Russian foreign minister. He says, Russia is waiting for a proposal from US President Donald Trump to end the war in Ukraine. Every politician, quote unquote, who claims to be for peace, not for war, deserves attention. So this is what he has to say.
Donald Trump has vowed to work on ending conflict in the Middle East and in Ukraine. Do you have an idea of how we can do that? No, I don't have any idea, but we will be awaiting their proposals, and every time I have this question,
so I think the audio is not very loud. I'm sorry about that. But basically what he is saying here is that Donald Trump, if he is a president for peace, then we're waiting for him to respond to our demand, our proposal, our negotiation, our policies with Ukraine, and then we'll go with that. But this is where it gets very, very interesting. Russia has banned enriched uranium exports to the United States. Russia, the world's largest supplier of enriched uranium, announced that it has temporarily restricted exports of enriched uranium to the United States. This move is seen as a direct response to the Biden-Harris administration's earlier ban on Russian uranium imports. This is where I don't understand the policy of Biden administration. Russia is absolutely crucial for energy supply, especially to Europe. Germany is struggling, many other countries are struggling with the energy crisis. You should really ask or be at least soft, not soft, but neutral. Let's not use the word soft towards Russia, but neutral. I mean, just keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Because if Russia is not supplying those energy resources to European countries, then these countries are at the mercy of the nature. If the winter is really cold this time and dark, obviously, then you know that these countries will pay the heavy price. Not United States at this point, but those countries. Does Biden administration care about those countries in Europe? I don't think so. Because if they did, they would have had a very different approach with Russia. But somebody else is having a very good approach with Russia, and that is this country. China and Russia, they are now exploring. So Russia explores new gas export route to China through Kazakhstan, capable of supplying up to 35 billion cubic meters annually. What does it mean? It means the gas, the oil, everything that was supposed to be going to some of these Western countries who were buying those natural resources, those energy supplies from Russia at a much cheaper price, are not able to do so anymore. Thanks to Joe Biden administration, they followed what Biden was saying. They followed every single word. Their fight against Russia, supplying weapons to Ukraine, money to Ukraine, and now, lo and behold, they are getting deprived of all of these good things from Russia. Who is going to Russia right now? Not just China. Don't think it is just China. Also, India is now approaching Russia. UAE, Middle Eastern countries, they are finding different way of doing transaction with Russia, doing business with Russia. And so Russia's economy is not under sanction in any way, shape, or form right now, as US loves to think. They're actually booming. Ruble has become the fourth strongest currency in the year 2023. I do not know about 2024, but it is actually going to be ranking at the top, right? Maybe below US dollar. And then when BRICS will kick in with its new payment method and all that, US dollar hegemony is going to be gone completely. All the while, this hubris politician in the Western countries thinking, we are invincible. Russia cannot destroy us. Well, maybe not Russia alone, but add with Russia, China, India, Iran, all the other Arab countries. Yeah, combinedly, they together, yeah, they can do a lot of damage. And they can dethrone you from US dollar hegemony. And this is exactly what is happening right now. Also, the coward, I should say, the biggest businessman, this is what Donald Trump called him, Zelensky, is now talking about what? He's talking about peace. Ukrainian President Zelensky says, we need real peace, quote unquote, with Russia. What do you mean by real peace after fighting for how many years now? Almost 3 years. 2022, the war started when Russia invaded Ukraine. And now it is end of 2024. And now you want real peace? Like, what do you mean? It means he doesn't see winning this war. And under Donald Trump, he's going to only make things much worse for Volodymyr Zelensky, the Nazi guy. And so, yeah, Ukraine is lost. The country, Gaza, is pounding on Israel. It is not looking good on the Zionist state. And also on top of that, what Hezbollah is doing is something unbelievable. Now, let's take a look at this video from Scott Ritter. We talk about Ukraine. We talk about fighting the Nazis. Let's see what he has to say. He made a very good point. Let's take a listen.
Who runs Ukraine? It's not Zelensky. It's not the parliament. It's the Nazis. And if you're a Russian, and I'm going to leave it with this, because this is the emotional part. You thought losing 14,000 people was emotional? I'm going to give you what emotional is. Emotional is losing 23 to 32 million people in a war against Nazi Germany. That is what defines Russia today. Every major town, every major city has a monument to the people who died. Every family lost people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a dozen, 20 in that war. The biggest holiday in Russia is May 9th, Victory Day. It's not like in America. When was the last time the United States celebrated Victory in Europe Day? Never, not in our memory. We forgot about it. We don't have any more World War II veterans. They're all dead or dying. But the Russians, they're dead and dying too. You know how they remember it? They formed something called the Immortal Regiment. So the family members of those veterans carry the portraits of the people who fought in that war, and they parade by the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands every May 9th in remembrance of this. Wow. It's in their DNA. And now you're asking them to sit back and watch the Nazi ideology come to life in Ukraine and do nothing about it. In America, I'm sick and tired of hearing Americans saying denazification, which is one of the military objectives set forth by Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, absolutely. He is one of the best guys there to articulate US's hypocrisy, how they, one hand, talk about denazification. On the other hand, they actually prop up a government that is a Nazi to its bone, i.e. in this case, Zelensky. And so now let's talk about what is happening with the Zionist forces one more time. So for the 7th time, I also want you to actually take a look and read with me. So this is what is coming right from the ground. And you will not see this news from Western media. For the 7th time, the Lebanese group Hezbollah has targeted a gathering of Israeli occupation troops on the eastern outskirts of the town of Talusa with a volley of rockets. Listen to this, as I'm reading it, read with me, because this article describes exactly how the Zionist forces, ITF, is losing. Talusa is the new target of the Israeli army, which is trying but failing to occupy parts of South Lebanon. What is meant to be the second phase of the Israeli advancement in Lebanon is not going well. It seems that wherever Israeli troops are directed, they are followed by difficult security events. So this difficult security events, quote unquote, was mentioned in the Zionist media outlets several times. And ironically, the resistance forces, they're using the same phrase, same sentence, difficult security events. What the the Zionists are saying is exactly what now the resistance forces are also reporting on with the same wording. And so when we read difficult security events, it basically means that the Zionists are losing manpower, they're losing their tanks, and they're not able to advance a single inch of land in Lebanon, and at the same time they're getting killed and coming under huge bombardment. The latest of such events took place in the town of Shama in the vicinity of Tyre Haifa. Al-Mayadin correspondent has confirmed that, quote, the Israeli force which infiltrated the town of Shama and withdrew to Tyre Haifa were forced to withdraw into the Palestinian territories under artillery and air cover. What is mind-boggling to me is this. They cannot clear Jabalia refugee camp in Gaza from Hamas fighters. How can they clear an entire village from Hezbollah fighters is beyond me. It shows, guys, that Netanyahu is fighting this war for himself. Not even for the Zionists. The Zionists who are cheering him up. Oh, he is our hero, one guy said. He's not your hero. He is actually a villain. Okay, so Al-Mayadin correspondent, Al-Mayadin, by the way, is a Lebanese newspaper. Al-Mayadin correspondent pointed out that 8 similar battles had taken place inside the Lebanese territory between the resistance and the occupation forces. Can you imagine? 8 battles. You need 8 of them to clear one area when you have air power. The fighters just are bombing and killing innocent civilians, and you still need that many fights, and you still cannot go back. It is reminiscent to what is happening in Gaza. They went to the northern Gaza, the Israeli forces, 4th or 5th time. Every time they retreat, every time they go back to their bases, to their bunkers, they find Hamas fighters infiltrated and saturated literally that place with their own fighter. And so the Zionist forces, they have to come back again to Jabalia refugee camp to northern Israel and tell them, hey, leave this place, we're going to attack again. This happened 4 or 5 times, and they're getting absolutely frustrated. So this is exactly what is happening in Lebanon. They leave one place empty, hoping that this is going to be all cleared up and safe and secure for the Zionist forces, only to find out, no, there are more members from Hezbollah fighters are coming. Al-Mayadin correspondent, this is what they have pointed out, that 8 similar battles had taken place inside the Lebanese territory between the resistance and occupation forces. Below are the latest statements. So Al-Qassam brigades from Hamas, they are saying that they have targeted a Zionist Markava 4 tank Yasin with a Yasin 105 shell next to the Beit Halahia development association in the northern Gaza Strip. Quote, we sniped a Zionist soldier in the vicinity of Abbas Kilani roundabout, north of Beit Lahia, north of Gaza Strip. So again, there is just one guy got sniped, but we know the number is quite high if you add them up for that particular day. In other words, guys, what we are seeing is a completely destroyed and an exhausted Zionist group that is now following the command of their boss, Netanyahu, to fight, not to win this, not to win anything. They're just fighting it because otherwise they will lose their paycheck and they will not be able to feed their family members. And this will be also at the same time such a humiliation for them to go back to their country with giving up fight in the battlefield. So to make things look a little bit okay, they're staying in the military, but most of them are just there for the sake of the paycheck. They're not fighting any fight, because if they do, they are going to be sniped and they're going to be targeted and killed.